Alright guys, today I'm going to be changing the Hydramount and Top Engine Mount on my 2005 MG ZT. So I've been getting a really bad vibration for the steering wheel for a while now, which is of course symptom of the Hydramount just being shot. One other symptom I've been getting is if I'm turning a full lock at low speed, I'll hear a sort of clunk noise. It sounds almost like a suspension clunk noise, but it's coming from around about that top mount area, so I reckon hopefully changing these will cure both problems. For those of you who know these cars quite well, you're probably aware that the actual factory original diesel Hydramount is not available anymore, and they've been unavailable for a while. The stuff that's kind of being advertised is actually the petrol mount, and some of the sellers are claiming that they fit the petrol and diesel model. Although they physically fit, the petrol ones are not supposed to be as strong, so when fitted to a diesel model they can fail a bit early. So I've been doing a bit of research, looking around on some of the forums, and I've actually seen quite a few people suggest that the Freelander diesel Hydramount can actually fit the 75 ZT diesels as well. They're still available, but the only difference is the bottom thread is supposed to be longer, so you have to cut it down, but other than that they're pretty much identical, so it will fit. That should be a better solution than fitting a petrol one for now, which might just fail early. So to just show where the engine mounts that I'm changing today are located, this is your top engine mount just here, and the Hydramount is the one just below down there. That one does look like in a really bad state. It wouldn't surprise me if that comes off in two pieces. This one is also showing its age, so we'll be changing both of those today. So here's the replacement engine mounts off the car, so you can see what they look like. That's the Hydramount, so that's the Land Rover one, and it's from a company called Brit Part. So this one wasn't that expensive, it's about 50 quid, and it was the one recommended on a couple of threads I've seen on the owners clubs. But I have seen online that the original Land Rover one is also still available. It's about 200 quid, so I thought this one would be worth a shot. We'll see how well it lasts, and if it doesn't, then I can always see if I can get a new Land Rover one and try that. So at the point of filming this video, I'm actually just finishing up changing the clutch on this, which I've done in another video on the channel. So a lot of the stuff I need to dismantle is actually already dismantled, but I'll quickly run through what you'll need to take off to be able to do this. So to start off, you'll need to get the car up in the air and get it up on some axle stands and get the under tray off. And then what you'll need to do is get the bottom engine mount off, which is just located underneath towards the back, just roughly where the exhaust is just sitting on the floor there. The reason for that is because we will need to get a jack under the engine, one to support it, but two, we're going to have to raise it up a little bit to access the Hydramount down at the bottom there. Oh, and whilst the lower engine mounts off, it'd be a good time to check the condition of this, because if you don't know if the engine mounts have ever been changed on your car before, then chances are this bottom one is absolutely shot on yours. On the diesels, these just get absolutely destroyed. This one I've actually replaced a few years ago, and it's still in good condition, so this one will still be fine to put back on. Right, so let's get to it. I took you guys through what I'm doing, so to kick things off, I've just put a jack under the engine to support the weight of it, ready for me to dismantle the top engine mount. And now I've just got to remove the mounting bracket for the power steering pipe and the aircon pipe. Now I'm going to remove the 3 bolts and 1 nut that go into the black plate. So the 2 bolts that go from the plate to the top engine mount, the 1 nut that goes to the Hydramount, and there's also a bolt that goes across into the silver casting that goes to the engine. Once these are out, I can then get the top engine mount out. Space is a bit limited getting to the 4 bolts on that engine mount, but I just used a ratchet spanner. The 3 bolts that are on the side of the engine mount, they've got to come out completely, but the 4th one, which is on the front side, you don't need to take it out completely. You can just slacken that off and the engine mount will just slide off. So here's how things are looking so far with the top engine mount off. So you see where the 3 bolts were on the side. This front one was proving to be really tight to get out, but I actually found you don't need to get it out completely. If you just take it out about this much, the engine mount will actually just slide off of it. And here's what condition this engine mount's in. I mean, it's not completely broken, but as you can see, it's past its best date, so worth changing. Next up, I need to remove the power steering fluid reservoir bracket and then get the 4 bolts out of the metal cast that bolts onto the engine. These can be a bit difficult and a bit tight to get out, but as you're pulling them out, you need to make sure the engine stays within alignment. If the engine starts to lean or drop down, you'll put extra strain onto the bolts, which just makes it harder to get them out. And this is where it's really important you've got the engine supported, because once you get these bolts out, if the engine's not supported, it's just going to drop down. You'll also see that I did have to move the height of the engine up and down a bit with the jack to get this off. So with everything out the way, we can now access the old Hydramount, and as predicted, it is completely broken in 2 pieces. Now this is where a lot of people tend to get stuck doing this, because normally you'd need like a specialist tool. I think you can still get them that clamps onto there to remove that Hydramount, but there is another way to do it, which I've done a couple times before and it's always worked, and that's just knocking it out with a hammer and chisel. Well, that was the result. That actually came out a lot easier than my previous 2 did. So that was probably easier than it will be for you. I mean, the last 2 that I had to remove, I had to whack them with like the chisel and the hammer for quite a while before they cracked and finally started to actually undo. That one literally started to undo with the first hit, so it saved me a lot of time, but just to be warned, it can be harder to remove it using that method than it was for me here. So I mentioned on the replacement Freelander one that one of these threads will need to be cut, and I thought from what I'd read it was the bottom one, but it turns out it's actually the top one. As you can see, this is a lot longer than that one, and that will need to be cut down, otherwise when you go to install this part it hits this top bit here. And just comparing the 2 Hydromounts side by side, the Freelander one does look like it is taller than the original one, but apparently from what I've read this is normal, because this does over the years get crushed, so it does end up being shorter, and that's how tall it originally should be. So hopefully they'll fit and it will be absolutely fine. So here we go, I've cut down the top thread on the new replacement Hydramount, done it with an angle grinder, so that's now ready to go in. Tighten the Hydramount in place, I just used a nut which normally mounts it to the black metal bracket, and then I just use a long impact socket to tighten it into place. It's really important you make sure you get it as tight as possible, because I made this mistake last time in my other car where I thought I got it tight enough, but once you had the weight of the engine on there and you're driving the car, there was like a sort of a wobbly noise coming from that area, and when I had to redo it again I found that I actually hadn't tightened it up enough, even though it seemed it was completely tight. Next we can refit that metal cast that goes from the Hydramount to the engine. Again, it's really important to align that cast to the engine, otherwise you'll find the bolts are just going to be too difficult to get back in, or you'll just be risking cross-threading them. Now I can just fit the new top engine mount and get the black plate bolted down to it as well. So a couple of small bits left just to finish this job off. So first I just need to mount the power steering fluid reservoir bracket back in place, and then the power steering hose and the aircon hose brackets have got to be bolted back on as well. And that is the 2 engine mounts replaced. So all we need to do next is just put the bottom engine mount back on and put the under tray on. Final few bits to put back together from when I did the clutch, and then we're good to go. Hey little man, who's a good boy? Hey, who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? So the car is back together. I thought I wouldn't bore you with the last few bits to put back on, most of which was just from when I'd done the clutch, so you wouldn't be removing those bits anyway. But changing that Hydramount did solve my problem of that knock, which sounded like a suspension knock, but it was actually the Hydramount. So thumbs up, that is absolutely brilliant. Finally got rid of that knock. So that is it, that's the end of the video. So you know the drill, guys. If you found it useful, please just hit that like button, and just please subscribe to the channel. Any bit of engagement just really does help get the channel out there, and we'll see you in the next video. Catch you later.